Hello there, YouTube. It is Charles here. I'm going to do something I did a couple of weeks ago while I'm bagging up some classic comic books and just talk to you guys and show you guys what I have. Earlier this summer, I got two long boxes of comics given to me by my friend Steve. He was wanting to get off of them and put them in good hands, somebody he knew would appreciate them, so he gave them to me. And last time I did a lot of G.I. Joe books. This time we have some Marvel stuff, some Image stuff. I still have a lot to go through, but I'm just going to get through this stuff today. We have these from the two long boxes I received recently. And then these he actually gave me beforehand because he knew I was a big fan of Black Cat. So we'll go through, see what I have, and we'll get them all bagged. I'm using these BCW comic book bags. I actually got these at Walmart on Walmart.com for about 10 bucks, and you get 100 bags. So that's a good deal. You know, it's a way to make sure that your books last for a while, and you don't, yeah, these things are fragile, especially as they get older. So you want to have them bagged and boarded, but I'll go without a board sometimes. So yeah, we're starting off here with Marvel Comics Black Cat. It's actually Felicia Hardy Black Cat, the fabulous first issue. I am a huge fan of Black Cat. I actually have an action figure with this look. This is from 1994. And I love going through back issues because I'm a relatively new collector. I started collecting in 2019. So stuff like this is still brand new to me. So let's see how many we have sequentially here. So we have issue number 1. Now I know that a lot of people like to get them graded and sealed, but that's not important to me. I'm all about the story and getting into them and reading them and appreciating them. So I am not one of these guys that just gets them slabbed and forgets about them. Then we have number 2 from that same run, and these are in great condition. By the way, I didn't even point that out in the first issue here. But, yeah, I'm not seeing any bends. Not seeing any tears. Liking this art style right here. We have that pulpy paper that was used, I think, through the 80s and 90s. I really do enjoy this 90s style of Marvel drawing. Everything seems to be, everyone seems to be real slender and stylized. A lot of sharp pencil work. And another big difference between these books and the newer stuff that, you get in, in the stores is they were a lot more wordy back in the day. You had more pages, and you had more speech bubbles, and less action. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's because, as of late, with social media, our attention spans have decreased. So maybe comics are trending in a way to where there's less actual writing in them nowadays, because of our shorter attention spans, or if it's a financial thing or a stylistic thing. But then again, one thing I noticed is lately you have a lot, like I said, it's a lot more action on the page. So maybe it's just a matter of artists trying to tell more of a story with pictures and less words. And I can't say. We have number 3. There's a bend in the cover here. yellowing, and there's a bent corner right here on the back, but still in great condition. Black Cat number 3. So far from the series we have 1, 2, and 3. Look at that. Yeah, I love the cat suit. And the way that she's drawn, you can actually see the musculature through the suit. Uh, her and Catwoman had a lot of the same stylistic things going on in this time period. Now, I know some people, they like to say that one is a generic version of the other. But I think that, Felicia Hardy and Selina Kyle are, yeah, they're both cat-themed burglars, but I mean, that's the easy trope, cat burglar. You get a female in a black bodysuit. That's going to sell some comic books. But Selena, I think, is maybe a little bit more physical and really has less of an issue with delving more into the criminal side of the gray area, to where I think, Felicia Hardy may have a little bit more trouble with the criminality aspect of her personality, but that may have just been the books I've read so far. I will probably have a better understanding as I get into these older books. So we have number 4 from this Black Cat series, and it looks like that's where we're going to be ending with this particular run. For now, who knows, maybe in some of those long boxes we'll find more from this series, but 1 through 4 is good. Yeah, it's a good selection here. The cover's bent a little bit. We have this one has Spider-Man as a guest star, so that's going to be fun. So we'll get this bag. And if you're wondering what I'm listening to, I got some Francesca Tandoy on YouTube playing one of her concerts. Brilliant pianist. I'm not sure where she's from. I think she may be Italian. But from over in Europe. Brilliant pianist. I discovered her music on Instagram. I was really impressed with the way that she swings. What that is, it's a way of subdividing music. Yeah, like I said, it's comics and talk, so I'm going to ramble a little bit too, but when you're dealing with music, straight 4/4 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But in jazz and blues, we use a swing a lot. And that's where you have the 1, 2, 3, 4, but in between each note, you're putting 3 more subdivisions. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And so when somebody says that music is swinging, it means that they're really emphasizing those polyrhythms and really nailing the polyrhythms. And so it's not just going to be straight square 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything you do is going to be in that triplet fill against a hard 4/4. And she approaches her piano playing and her improvising in a way that dudes did back in the 60s and 50s, and really like the bebop era of playing, where it was about speed and technical abilities and stretching the limitations of chord structure. And so that's what I dig about her, is just, yeah, technical ability, swing, and kind of throwback style. I generally don't listen to too much bebop when it comes to jazz because it's a little bit too, I don't play bebop either. I never got into it when I was in college, and even now when I go out and gig with my band, most of the stuff I play is going to be 60s hard bop up through 70s fusion, but straight bebop with the complicated chord changes and the speed. It's not something that, for one, I came to music late, and so I didn't have the chops to play very, very fast. And it didn't appeal to me musically because it's like, okay, you're playing a bunch of notes, and it's fancy, but it's not, I'm not relating to it. But she has a nice balance of the hard bop, post bop sensibilities, but with the technicality that you would get in bebop. So that's enough talking about jazz. Let's get back to the comic books. Next, we have from the pages of X-Men Gambit, Web of Spider-Man, also guest starring the Black Cat. Live and Let Die begins here. And we got Spider-Man, Gambit, and Black Cat on the cover. This one is from Marvel Comics, of course, 1994. And then we have a couple of, are these trade paperbacks? I'm not sure if this is a trade paperback or a very, very thick. Okay, yeah. Alright. So yeah, these are trade paperbacks, Lady Death. And one thing I noticed about them is the modern Lady Death books are put out by Coffin Comics. But this is from Chaos Comics. But it seems no matter who's publishing, Lady Death has pretty consistent artwork and style. This is from 1995. It has 3 chapters in it. I will say that Lady Death, even to the modern day, her books really do have that throwback style of a lot of pages, a lot of speech bubbles, a lot of dialogue, and the art style has stayed consistent. I mean, there are certain points with with Lady Death. There's been so much material and so many books that the writers assume that you've already read a bunch of the stuff, and so they throw in, you know, details from the whole history of the series. And if you're just getting in on the series today, it can be a little overwhelming and confusing. But I am not one of these book snobs that feels like I have to be able to explain and do an essay on everything I read. The last couple of Lady Death books I read, I remember battles, explosions, fights, not much else. A lot of the context, overarching stuff, didn't stick with me. But I enjoyed it nonetheless. And that's the great thing about comic books. What really got me into them as well is that I realized that there's something for everybody, and everybody can enjoy them, something different about them. A lot of the people that I hang out with, and talk comic books with, to this day, even though I am a big reader, I read everything I buy, I know people that buy books basically just for the covers. And they'll display them or they'll store them away, but they won't read most of what they get. And me, I don't have any slabs. I have some framed, but if I'm in the mood, I'll take them out the frame and give them another read. That's just me. But that's the beauty of comic books, is something for everybody. This Lady Death is also from Coffin Comics. Let's see if I can find a year. This is Lady Death, The Reckoning. And it has 3 chapters. Twilight of Innocence, Descent in Hell, and Death's Queen Rising. And it is from March 1995, and it's a third printing. Yeah, with these big trade paperbacks, sometimes you can get them into a sleeve, but it's a little bit more complicated. Trade paperbacks too, if you were wanting to get into comics but you don't want to spend the money getting issue by issue, you can wait and get trade paperbacks in collected form. And what those are going to be like, for instance, these books are originally released as individual issues. They're combined for one price. And I have, Conan, Red Sonja crossover, trade paperback, a bunch of Jennifer Blood trade paperbacks, and probably about 5 or 10 trade paperbacks of books that have been out of print that I've been able to get my hands on and catch up on. Catwoman, Lazarus. I just bought the first 2 volumes of Revival in trade paperback form. And I do like individual issues. I tried to find the individual issues of Revival, and I found a couple of early issues, but when I found out it was going to be expensive, I bought Volume 1, read that, and this is Volume 2 of Revival, and it collects how many books here? I'm not seeing an issue number here, but the first volume had, I think, 5 issues covered. And this looks about the same, and I got it for, I think, $4 or $5 off of Amazon. But this one is too thick to fit any sleeves I have. So I'm just going to have to be a little bit extra careful with this. Yeah, you can get trade paperbacks from Amazon. Walmart will have them sometimes. So getting into the books from the long box haul, we have from Marvel Comics, Spider-Man Gen 13. This looks very interesting. I would say from the art style, that is maybe the early 2000s. Let's see how correct I am, if I'm correct at all. I am not seeing, here we go. Okay, it's from 1996. Trying to see if there's a description here so I can get a lowdown on the story. No, there is not a description, but it looks very good, very striking art. I'm gonna get into this sooner than later. And also with books like this, one thing you notice is that it has a little bit harder cover cardstock, so you really don't need a board with books like this. Put that over here. And then some of these as well are already bagged. This is a book I never heard of from Image Comics. It is called Maximage. And it's a #1 issue. I love #1 issues. I dig this art. Definitely late 90s. 1995. They got advertisement for Youngbloods action figures on the back. Story about Rob Liefeld. There's actually a great documentary on Rob Liefeld on YouTube. Yeah, that guy, he drew in very odd proportions. But it's what made his art stand out. Okay, so yeah, we got Maximage #1 from Image Comics. This is Grifter, May 1st, Chapter 5. And this is from Image Comics. Wow, look at this panel here on the second page. Big, full 2-page explosion. That's something that Image Comics still does. I love those big panels in them. Image, they just have a certain style about them where everything is kind of, well, I mean, when it comes to like the Spawn stuff, and it looks like this as well, the action just seems bigger and bolder and a touch more violent than the Marvel stuff. Okay, then we have another Image comic. And this one is called, I think it's Killraiser. It's a #1 issue. Very cool character design. It almost looks like Witchblade. Yeah, it is very, very reminiscent of Witchblade. It's from 1995. And it is in pristine condition. Check this out. No bends, the cover is still shiny. No yellowing. It has maybe been out of this plastic one time until now. Okay, next we have this Marvel Comics Generation X Underground Special #1. Now this right here, I do not... It's an interesting looking book. It has that pulp paper feel to it. The cover paper is a little bit thicker, but it's still very pulpy. And you get inside to the art, and it's all black and white. The style kind of reminds me of like that two-tone ska style, like the specials. The way they put together the album covers with that checker tone, and it has a 70s feel to it. Definitely different than what I've seen from Marvel Comics around, when was this put out? Everything almost looks laid out by hand. Not seeing a date on it. I am not finding a date. Here we go. 1998. And it looks almost like a compilation here. Page 1, The Big Game. Page 6, Jubilee Scrapbook. Page 7, Banshee's Angels. Page 24, Gen X Bootleg Trading Cards. 25, Half a Face. 30, Sketchbook. 32, Gen X Bootleg T-Shirt Design. So this may have been influenced by that 90s ska revival. I remember when I was just getting out of high school, that was when ska was making its big return, and every album cover looked just like this. So it may have been something that was borrowing from what was going on at the time. That was a weird time because it's like ska just kind of got rediscovered, and then everybody was ska for like a year, and the market became oversaturated, and it went away as fast as it showed up. But that's the fun thing about comic books, they're almost like a cultural time capsule. Alright, so next we have, it looks like a set of books that all go together here. Evangeline. I've never heard of this character. But stylistically, it looks like something I'd be into. Kind of reminds me of Aeon Flux and Witchblade. It's from Maximum Press. This one is called Possession, Part 3, still in pristine condition. It's from 1997. So Evangeline is a fallen angel who has been sent to Earth as punishment for her sins. Once a fierce member of God's war host, Evangeline must now live as a mortal, albeit with extraordinary physical strength. Okay. Definitely the type of story that I would be into. So we have the Possession Part 3 and the Possession Part 4. Who knows, maybe I'll be able to find the other parts of this series. And these are already bad, so I get to save on that. We have Evangeline. This is bagged and boarded. It's called Enter Bloodwolf. We have Evangeline Armageddon, #1, also from Maximum Press. I'm wondering if this is related to Spawn. Have to find out and do some research. Okay, this is Avenger Blade, cutting edge parody, the baddest of the bad, Maximum Press. Avenge Blade. Okay, interesting. The same character, but instead of Evangeline, it's Avenger Blade. We got #1, and we got #2. Interesting. Very interesting. These are going to be going on my read list for stuff that I'm getting into right away. It has piqued my interest. And then next we have a crossover. Uh-oh, hello. We got a Image and Marvel Comics crossover, Badrock Wolverine. Wow, this is from, what year is it from? I love a crossover. 1996. It's in good condition. There's a little bit. Actually, no. There's no bends. All the pages are. Yeah. Right here on the back, the spine is a little bit wore out a little bit. But that is quite alright. It is all in one piece and still readable. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I love crossovers. The most recent one I got is the DC Marvel crossover. And the main story was Batman and was a Batman Deadpool crossover. And it was interesting. For me, I didn't enjoy the story as much as the novel concept. They had different stories between different characters from the universes. Wonder Woman did a Captain America team up, and I think Daredevil and Green Arrow did a team up. It was a thick book, but when I don't know, I didn't enjoy it as much as I hoped I would. But like I said, it's something novel that you don't see every day. So next we have DV8, #1 from Image Comics. A #1 issue in immaculate condition despite not being in a bag or board. There's no introduction here. Very 90s artwork. Very violent. So 1996. So it seems like at least this part of my buddy's collection was he was real big into Image around this time frame. Yeah, DV8 again. This is the alternate cover of #1. That is a very good looking cover. Yeah, it's kind of a grotesque art style. So those are both #1, and then we have DV8, #2. I think I just figured out DV8. DV8 as in DV number 8, but it's also DV8. Okay, I get the title now. Clever. This one is bagged and boarded. Then we have #3. I dig this cover. This from the cover work and just taking a cursory glance inside, it looks kind of like a chaotic book with grotesque imagery, lots of unhinged violence. Those are good things in my book, so don't get it twisted. We have DV8 #4 from Image. And then we have, let's see here, #7, An Eye for an Eye. That is kind of a interesting cover there. Then we have number 8. Looks like we have multiple covers. Actually, no, these are from different. Oh, no, this is number 6. Okay. Number 6 here, so I got confused by the lettering. Bagged and boarded already. Number 8 and number 9. Looks like those are going to be kind of just nice, fun, shut your brain off and enjoy the gore type of stories. So yeah, I am very excited about this. What the big standouts? Yeah, I feel like I pulled out from here are definitely going to be the Evangeline series. Definitely gonna be toward the front of my reading list. Maximage. That's the #1 issue. The Bad Rock Wolverine crossover. And Spider-Man Gen 13. So those are going to be the real big standouts for me from going through this part of the collection. And then we have these books right here that I got bagged and boarded. And I definitely put this Black Cat series as well toward the front of my reading list. And I still have almost 2 more long boxes to go and get organized. So thank you for watching and hanging out with me as I talk a little bit and bag up these comic books. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If there's any books in here that you saw, that you've read, any insights you have, any suggestions based on these. Let me know in the comments. You guys take it easy. Until next time, keep reading them books. And, oh yeah, check out Francesca Tandoy. Her music is streaming on all platforms. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.